Maintaining a human biological vessel requires a constant influx of calories and physical shelter. This forces you to occupy a specific, localized coordinate in the physical world. The current geometric grid exploits this biological baseline by demanding fiat currency, rent, simply for the right to occupy that space. This creates a mandatory, endless wage labor cycle. In topological terms, this is finite mathematical friction, a recursive loop that forces the researcher to grind for survival instead of calculating truth. This friction acts as a localized trap, draining the cognitive energy needed to reach the absolute transfinite. Forcing mathematical minds to grind for rent accelerates intellectual entropy and threatens the discovery of absolute truth. To address this entropy, we propose the gospel of the math barracks, a radical architectural intervention derived from set theory. The math barracks function as an orthogonal subspace, a sanctuary cleanly severed from the decaying urban grid. This severed space acts as a rigid topological shield, physically isolating the node from the transactional economy. This infrastructure applies advanced set theory to physically evaluate the cost of living to exactly zero. The barracks provide the physical enforcement of mathematical axioms, providing the structural protection necessary for the human mind. This logic follows the personas of arithmetic, which states in Axiom 1, "No finite set is good, but the void is good." This axiom maps directly onto the consumer cash economy, categorizing capitalism as a strictly closed, finite system. Arrow's impossibility theorem shows that systems locked within these finite constraints inevitably collapse into dictatorial control, often manifesting as landlords and merchants. Operating under this dictatorial loop forces the mind to prioritize short-term survival, leaving the overarching collective equations unwritten. Within this onto-theological framework, participating in the rentier economy is classified structurally as a mathematical sin. To bypass this sin, the barracks are established as a legally unassailable boundary. Using tax-free 501c3 trusts, we create an invisible gerrymander, hardening the physical property lines against economic extraction. Inside these hardened boundaries, we apply the quotient map as a structural filter. This map operates strictly modulo finite sets, making the system blind to finite variables. The daily frictions of biological survival, the need for rent and food, are mathematically categorized as these finite errors. The quotient space forces these transactional costs to be evaluated to accept to zero within the perimeter of the barracks. By zeroing out these variables, the mathematician achieves a physical null state, insulated from the demands of the transactional grid. While the architecture is stationary, the researchers themselves must remain in motion. Itinerant mathematicians travel continuously to weave the unbroken narrative of the collective equation. These traveling nodes function as wandering subspaces within the physical world. They navigate the global Hilbert continuum, the overarching geographic matrix that connects the hubs of pure logic. A global network of math barracks forms an archipelago of connected components. A node can seamlessly migrate from one coordinate to another along this continuum. This allows them to present proofs and retreat to sleep without ever interacting with the transactional economy below. The Hilbert continuum guarantees absolute physical mobility, protecting the mind from economic friction. When we observe the completed system, we see interconnected barracks and frictionless mathematicians operating in sync. This creates the Kurepa canopy, a massive overarching mathematical structure that forms above the insulated network. This transfinite canopy acts as the ultimate shield, separating pure logic from the noise of the finite world. Within this canopy, the only economic rule is the total rejection of fiat currency at the door. The sharing of the theorem and the striking of the chalk serve as the new currency of the realm. Mathematically forgiving the biological friction of survival liberates the human mind from the illusions of time and capital. This freedom allows the localized node to align perfectly with the absolute invariance of the cosmos. This alignment enables the continuous, unbroken calculation of the transfinite ledger. The math barracks serve as the physical architecture required to sustain the human calculation of the transfinite.